Road reaction post-game show. Game 82 in the books. Sacramento Kings pull off a 122-99 victory over the lowly 61-loss Los Angeles Lakers. I am James Ham. Joining me tonight, he's back. Rui is back. Say hello, Rui.
Hello.
There he is, Mr. Rui Thomas. All right. Hey, Rui made it through an entire season for Rui Thomas. Actually, I think we missed one road reaction post-game show all season long. That was it. Pretty stellar performance by us, Rui. 81 out of 82 games.
80
post-game show. What are your thoughts? Your first season, full-fledged in the books, Mr. Rui Thomas.
It was quite an experience. I think seeing two head coaches get fired in the same season was just as mind-blowing for me as it was for the players. The excitement at the beginning of the season definitely disappeared pretty fast, but definitely grew up and learned a lot in that first season covering the NBA full time.
The Kings are almost like I don't know. They ended up being like kids of like a single parent who starts dating and then stops dating and then starts dating, and just like when different dudes come in and kind of running the show. Like, I don't know what's going on here. Everyone's got different rules. Everyone's got a different idea, a different plan for the Sacramento Kings, and they are all very much different. And it was a season to watch. And actually, my 5 years of covering this team, throw away all of the relocation stuff, all of that stuff. This was the worst season to cover. It was brutal. It was long. It was exhausting, just because there was so much change. There was so much sort of disgruntledness behind the scenes, so much sort of downtrodden. Everyone, head dropped midway through the season. But they finished on a high note. And again, they finished with 2 straight wins. Again, it was the Lakers, who are horrible, atrocious, the worst ever Lakers team. But 29-53, George Karl finishes 11-19 on the season. This is the most wins the Kings have had in 6 years. But it is their 7th straight season under 30 wins. They've locked in the 6th pick for the for the lottery, for the draft lottery. We don't know exactly where they'll be, but I think it's right around May 19th. We'll find out the fate of the Sacramento Kings and where they will be in the NBA draft lottery. 6th pick is not a bad spot to be. But this was an interesting game. Derek Williams is a guy who stood out, 22 points, rebounds. But I think really the star of this game was Ben McLemore. McLemore came out flaming hot. He had 16 points really, really early. Finishes with 24 points, 7 assists, a spectacular assist night for the Kings, 30 as a team, but 7 for McLemore and 6 rebounds in 40 minutes. What was your thoughts on Ben McLemore finishing the season strong, but similar way that he did last year?
Though very encouraging. I mean, I don't know what it is with these game 82s and McLemore, but yeah, he definitely came out fired tonight and very motivated. I mean, tied this season high with 7 assists. Finished the first quarter with 10 points and 2 assists. Assertive attack Jabari Brown. I mean, you have to consider the fact that the Lakers only had 2 healthy players in the backcourt, but McLemore torched Jabari. Missed a couple of free throws, went 4 for 6 from the free throw line. Kings struggled as a whole from the line, going 22 for 41. But you can't blame McLemore on that, really. I mean, 40 minutes. He allowed Jabari Brown to have a pretty sick points. But I mean, you want to see this out of McLemore, and Nick Stauskas a strong performance tonight.
Yes, gets his first career start. He finishes one of his season/career high with 14, but also 5 assists and 5 rebounds and 2 steals. This is what the Kings Stauskas. They needed to see a athletic driver who can create for himself and create for others. I think he started to show signs of that down the stretch. It's a really big offseason for Stauskas. I spoke to him in the locker room before last game, before the home finale, and he's going back to Michigan. He plans on gaining a bunch of weight. He really feels like strength let him down this season, and he wants to come back ready to roll. I'm hoping he's getting his cleaning deposit apartment after he got popcorned. People who aren't around the team maybe don't know this, but Stauskas still doesn't have a vehicle. The Kings typically with their rookies, they fill their car with popcorn every year at the end of the year. And since Stauskas walks to and from work, you can actually, this is funny, you can actually watch Nick Stauskas walk from the practice facility all the way across the parking lot to his apartment every day. Or sometimes he gets a ride. He, like, one of the other players will like drive him across the parking lot to his house. So he's got a lot of growing up to do, and hopefully things start to click for him. Rui, let's skip to David Stockton. David Stockton, the fun to watch, isn't he? 5 points, seven assists. He had 2 turnovers, but it was because he's trying to get a little tricky. What were your thoughts on David Stockton?
David Stockton, again, you have to consider he was going up against D-League competition, but I mean his instincts, you just can't teach that. I mean some of the steals he had cutting off these Lakers passes were incredible, and one of the plays of the night may have been him grabbing a steal, dribbling the ball coast to coast, and then which is absolutely incredible for someone who looks like a little guy out there on the court. I mean he's 5'11", listed at 190. Is that what his weight is, or I can't remember, but 65. Okay, generous, but 5 points.
That's like baby that's soaking wet. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's no way he's 165. But go ahead.
So I mean, you gotta love his big face too. But 5 points, 7 assists in limited action, 19 minutes, and throwing those 2 steals, only 2 assists. Took the place of Andre Miller. Didn't really need to see him. Definitely held his own, and I think the performance tonight at least earned him a training camp invite for next fall.
Him and Stauskas in Summer League as well. He really reminds me of Captain America before he gets the steroids and becomes Captain America from a movie. Yeah, he's a little tiny guy. I mean, I don't know if he can make it in the league. He's got the pedigree, but I would really put him at 5'10", 150, maybe. I mean, he's a really, really small dude. Not like Isaiah Thomas small, where the dude's got like Popeye arms. Stockton is a small guy. You know what, Rui, I'll take it this time to say hat tip to Isaiah Thomas. My goodness, Boston Celtics were on pace to win like 25 games, and they finished with 39. They make the Eastern Conference playoffs. Really have to do much to make the Eastern Conference playoffs, but he had a huge impact on that team. Hat tip to Jimmer Fredette and Tyreke Evans, 2 other former Sacramento Kings who are making the playoffs. And I think that the tally is 20 former Sacramento Kings will make an appearance in the playoffs, ranging from Garrett Temple all the way to Aaron Brooks. There are plenty of guys, all 4 of the guys up in Toronto. Some exciting stuff. The Kings will be represented well, even though they are not going to make the playoffs. Who is your favorite King, former King, that's going to be in the playoffs?
Geez, well, how about Gerald Wallace? Along with Isaiah, he's on the Celtics. Made 31 appearances this season, averaged 1.1 points a game this year. So, hope maybe as the secret weapon to shut down whoever he's covering, and maybe throw down a monster dunk, get the crowd going.
Maybe Gerald Wallace will have a complete invigorated postseason. I keep calling it offseason because it's offseason for the Sacramento Kings. I'm sure Kenny Smith and Charles, if they cared about Sacramento, would have them out on a boat fishing. Probably should have done it like a month ago, maybe a month and a half. All right, let's get to a couple more of these numbers. Ray McCallum, 9 points, 6 assists, 4 rebounds. Ray McCallum is growing on me. He's fun to watch. He really can get up and down the floor. He really can get off the ground. I don't know what's going to happen this offseason. There's going to be a lot of changes, but Ray McCallum is so cheap that I think he will be back unless he's part of a much larger package. Jason Thompson, 12 points, 7 rebounds in 25 minutes. Ryan Hollins, again, 12.6 rebounds in 23 minutes. 7 Sacramento Kings in double figures, an impressive offensive showing. Again, you factor in that 22 for 41 free throw shooting, and the Sacramento Kings probably should have won by 35, probably. That's kind of where this game was. It was about a 35-point blowout for most of it, with like 1 or 2 guys clinging to life for the Lakers, kind of keeping them in it. All right, Rui, let's go for it.
Well, the Lakers had 17 offensive rebounds in Monday's loss, and they had 16 tonight. But clearly by the other numbers, it didn't make a difference. The Kings had 6 offensive rebounds of their own. The Kings, I mean, they were outrunning. They outran the Lakers 25-17, and they outscored them in the paint 58-40. All those missed frees at the line. I mean, this game wasn't even close. The Lakers. We saw a really strong performance out of Carlos Boozer. I mean, he accounted for he accounted for 3 of those offensive rebounds. He had 6 rebounds total, 10 points. I mean, what could they do?
Yeah, I mean, Kings are shorthanded, but it was a different kind of shorthanded. I mean, Kings were without. Let me see if I can name them quickly. Rudy Gay, DeMarcus Cousins, Omri Caspi, Reggie Evans, Darren Collison, Eric Moreland. Everyone was sitting on the bench. I mean, everyone. So to get a win when you're missing most of your team, I guess had some guys who have played substantial minutes this year, but this was a solid win overall. All right, let's get to our second key, last impressions. Derek Williams, Andre Miller, Ryan Hollins, all are unrestricted free agents going into this offseason. Jason Thompson, Landry would like new addresses this offseason. What are your final impressions on this group of players, Rui?
Again, it's a little tough to judge going up against the Lakers, and they just weren't down to play defense tonight. But I mean, all those guys, put on a good show. I mean, Derek Williams had his second season high in points in as many nights. Added 6 rebounds. He had 22 points. Jason we didn't see him much in the second half because of the score, but he finished with 12 points, 7 rebounds. Played physically down low, and Carl Landry, finally, had a really good game on the boards as well. I mean, he doesn't have much lift in his legs these days, but he finished with 14 points, a couple of really nice and ones, and he had 9 rebounds. And in the fourth quarter, utter domination at the end of all those alley-oops. He finished with 12 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 blocks. So, a few of those guys, I mean, we talk about Derek Williams' expensive, option to match in restricted free agency, or his qualifying offer. And, Hollins, who's just been glued to the bench most of the year by necessity. It's going to be interesting because, we talk about Thompson, how he's definitely a good trade candidate, and Landry isn't really fitting, in Carl's system. So what Pete D'Alessandro or Vlad Divac thinks of these guys, but, they did what they could tonight.
Yeah. Fiction. Omri Caspi will be back. Andre Miller is about 50-50. He'd like to be back in the NBA. Whether or not he wants to be back with Sacramento is yet to be decided, although he said he would like to be in Sacramento. I think it's still yet to be decided if there's a playoff team that really, really comes after him. He may disappear. Outside of that, I'm going to make a prediction. Williams, Hollins, Jason Thompson, Carl Landry will not be on this roster next season. I'm almost positive of that. I think the Kings will find takers for all of these guys, which I think is a little strange because I'm not sure anyone thinks that Carl Landry's, 2 years at $13 million is movable. But the Kings are going to be wheeling and dealing all offseason. There's going to be a lot of movement, and it's going to be for players that really fit this system. And I don't think any of those guys fit this system. Maybe Ryan Hollins, but there's going to be better options for the Kings. A guy like Kostas Koufos is a guy who's got a big giant red circle around him. He's a George Karl, would be a better fit than Ryan Hollins as a backup center. I think there's going to be a lot of change, and I would not be shocked if 1 or 2 of these players are all that's back next season. All right, let's get to this last key, the LA infamy. They're infamous. 61 losses. Oh, man. 21-61 for the Los Angeles Lakers. I mean, the Kings won 17 that one year, and that was brutal. But 21 is right there, especially the way they did it this year. The injuries were dramatic. Went down before the season even started. Kobe Bryant went down super early. Julius Randle went down really early with a leg injury. This was a disastrous season for the Los Angeles Lakers, who just kind of packed it in. They've got a lot of money to spend, but I think it's something like $25 million. $25 million really doesn't get you that far in the NBA nowadays. So I don't know what's going to happen with this Lakers team, but it's going to look substantially different next on the LA infamy.
it's a complete, true irony that the Kings, had the honor of handing the Lakers their final 2 losses for their worst winning percentage in franchise history, 25.6%. I mean, this is, a very dark time for the Lakers, and it's probably only going to get worse. Kobe saying he expects to play only 1 more season. And yeah, I mean, this season has been a complete disaster. I mean, talk about 2 years removed from the Dwight Howard fiasco. I mean, this year they're starting ex-King Ronnie Price at point guard and claiming they're trying to compete, and that unraveled really quickly. So Lakers are about to enter a dark age. They like to tout their large market, and then how guys they'll be able to lure guys like Kevin Love, but easier said than done. Look, this might be a time when the Lakers and Kings are finally going opposite directions, and it's a good time for the people up north.
The Kings fans. All right, MVP of the night. I'm going with Ben McLemore, 24 points, 7 assists, 6 rebounds. I thought he was tremendous. The Kings really, they played good team ball, 30 assists, only 9 turnovers. They pile up those turnovers late too while they're doing stupid things. But yeah, what are your thoughts on the MVP of tonight's game?
I really want more, but I'm going to go with McCallum because he was really committed to attacking the rim tonight. He scored 11 of his points in the 3rd quarter, and there was a play when Tarek Black whacked him in the head on a layup, and he fell down, and Tarek was called for the flagrant 1. And Ray didn't even act seeing a NBA basketball player not whine and writhe on the floor after he got whacked in the head. Very impressed by Ray tonight. A lot of momentum moving into the offseason, and yeah, I mean, you got to take down the Lakers.
That's it. You got to take down the Lakers. All right, well, that's going to do it for this edition of the Cowbell Kingdom Road Reaction postgame show. Game 82 in the books. The Sacramento Kings season is over. It's been a wild one. Rui Thomas, thank you so much for joining Cowbell Kingdom this season. It's been a fun season, and there's more to come. We will we won't be back with any more post-game shows, but as they head into the offseason, draft coverage, free agent coverage, summer league coverage, and then on to training camp and everything else. All right, so I am James Ham. Say goodnight, Rui. Tuning in all season to the Cowbell Kingdom Road Reaction post-game show. Hey, we'll see you next year on this show.